I'll be in the thing.
Kind of, we have started. Hello, everyone. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for waiting for us. Some of you who have been waiting for an hour because it was a little confused with the time. But I hope you don't mind. We are Mature. And we are starting our super great sourcing course. We will tell you about automation. We will tell you about data scraping. We will tell you about how to better outreach your candidates. And today is our first session with Adriaan Kolf, who is our CEO. And he will tell you the true power of automation, because at Mature, we are super fans of automating everything that is possible because it saves us time. But because we start, let's know about each other a little bit more. My name is Anastasia. I'm head of growth at Mature. I'm located in Moscow, and we are a distributed team. Part of the team are located in Ukraine. Our headquarters are in Amsterdam, and sometimes Adriaan travels to United States to have some business there. Yeah. So guys, I have seen in the chat that you have started to share your LinkedIn profiles and your cities and countries. So please go forward. Where are you from? Where are you from? So greetings from Moscow from my side.
Greetings from Amsterdam from my side, Anastasia.
Yeah. Let's see. I have seen that we have Prague here, we have Ukraine, we have France, we have
Seattle. I just saw
Seattle. Yeah. It's really great.
Oh, Miami, nice, Alexander.
Miami is something super different to Russia, where it's always cold, and in Miami it's always hot. Kiev, India.
Awesome. Oh, here we go.
Mexico, Romania, guys, what are you doing? Berlin, Argentina, Sweden, Hungary, Estonia. So global webinar and global community. I'm really happy that you have joined us because we have been creating this content. We have been creating these workshops for pretty long time. And we are sure that it will be super useful for you. And we want to make it as practical as we can. But I don't want to waste a lot of time for introduction. I will tell you how all the workshops will work and how to use this system Crowdcast that you are using at the moment. I'm going to share my screen right now. Give me one small second. And I will tell you what are the rules. Well, we actually have rules for the presentation. First of all, the most important thing, all recordings will be, all videos will be recorded, and all recordings will be available for you. I'm going to send it right now after each session. So check your inboxes. You will have it from me. Next, definitely you will have questions. If you will have a question, please ask it in the Ask a Question section. It's in the bottom of your screen. You will see it. There is a green button, and Ask a Question section. Because if you will ask question in the chat, we will just lose that. So please ask a question in the Ask a Question chat, in the Ask a Question section. Next. I have had experience with Crowdcast when some people say that the quality of video is not very good. switch it to the lower quality to 360. It works the best. Don't use HD if your internet is not like super powerful. You always can to change the quality of video, and it will be better. Next, chat. Chat is for everything. You can share your LinkedIn profiles. You can share your thoughts, opinions. You can have battles in chat. Chat is chat. And I really love when we have super active chat where people start to discuss things among each other. So don't hesitate to share your opinion in the chat. And join our sourcing workshop Facebook group. I'm going to share their presentations, slides, recordings, Q&A with speakers. If you have any question to speakers, you can ask it there and we will answer. So it's like our small joint closed group for everybody who is participating in this workshop and who is interested in sourcing. I think that's all from my side. And I'm going to introduce our first speaker, Adriaan Kolf. Adriaan, I think it's your time to go on stage.
Exactly. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anastasia. And guys, it's an honor for me to kick off this series of 12. Let me share my screen as well. Yes, awesome. All right. So, guys, let me see if you can see my screen. Yes. It's a little delay on the chat. All right, we're all good. Guys, once more, thank you so much for joining at this first webinar on the power of automation. I do have the chat next to me, so if you have any questions, I once in a while will look to the side to see if there are any questions. But Anastasia will collect all of the questions that I wasn't able to answer during the presentation to ask them collectively at the end of the presentation. But first, we are going to start with a short poll, because I'm very curious how many of you are sourcers, how many of you are recruiters, how many of you are both, and how many of you are undefined or maybe a dinosaur. If you look in the screen, there is actually a poll where you can actually indicate, what you feel most comfortable of defining yourself. So to see a little bit of what the audience consists of today. Let me see. These are the questions. Oh wow, a lot of sources and recruiters. No dinosaurs yet. Let's see. Oh, this is going fast. Two dinosaurs. There are two dinosaurs here. I see that the majority is clearly sourcer and recruiter, and we have two dinosaurs. Very curious to meet those individuals. 10 sourcers, 10 dedicated recruiters. All right, let's move on to the next one. Probably many of you already use some tools in your day-to-day activities. I am very curious to hear from you in the chat. What are your favorite automation tools, to see if where any of them are missing, or to see if we have some overlap of the stuff that we're using. So what kind of favorite automation tools are you using? How do you define a dinosaur? That's good. I love it. I'll come back to you in a little bit. Trinsley, Sourcer, guys in the chat, what are your favorite automation tools? Let's see. Seek Out, yes. Great tool. Duck Soup, Phantom Buster. Oh, we'll touch upon Automagically. I haven't heard of that one. That's going to be interesting. Phantom Buster will show. Seek Out, both. Nymeria, Seek Out, Hire Tool, Data Miner. Great. We got some experienced people in here. Gem. I'm very curious to hear more about Gem, to be honest. Hire tool. So we're specifically talking about sourcing and recruitment here, guys. So that's kind of where we go. Okay, but the good thing is I saw a widespread of different kind of tools. Zapinfo is going to be out of business from the 14th of September. Seek out amazing hiring, great tool indeed. Hire tool. All right, a lot of options. Now, what would you like to be automated in your day-to-day work? Or be creative, maybe in your personal life as well. Put it in the chat. LinkedIn Recruiter. So what is it in your life that you would like to be automated? LinkedIn Recruiter, bread and butter. Scraping, definitely. That will be amazing. Any day-to-day activities that you would like to be automated? Let's keep this as interactive and lively as possible. Prospect profile contact. Yes. Messaging emails. Yeah. Scraping and contact information. Tracking candidate data. Scrape. A lot of scraping. Searching process with relevant candidates. We'll touch upon that. Everything. Vika wants to automate everything. That's going to be awesome. Pre-screening. Ooh, that's a good one. Scraping, sourcing, emails, grocery shopping. Exactly, Steve. Grocery shopping, I agree. Pipeline contact info. Oh, we're going for it. Process we've done A, automatically go to B. Mapping clients, coffee on the hour, every hour. I fully agree with that one. Pre-screening reports. All right, so a lot of stuff that can be automated. And then last but not least, guys, a very important poll. Do you guys like Giphies? Please answer in the poll. So go out of the chat, go to polls. Do you like Giphies? Let me see what your voting is. Oh, a lot of people like Giphies. This is great, guys. This is great. We are on the exact same page. Everyone loves Giphies. And the good thing is, I also love Giphies. So let me tell you first a little bit about myself. I'm Adriaan Kolf. I'm the co-founder of Matcher. And for Matcher, I emigrated 2 years ago to Kiev, Ukraine. And what we do with Matcher is we provide dedicated sourcing support for a fixed fee per month for clients all over the world. So our sourcers work as an extension of local hiring teams in order to help them build strong pools of qualified talent. We do that fully remotely from our office in Kiev, but we have people working for us around the globe. Next to that, I founded Matcher. I'm also an investor in HR Tech. I'm a regular attendee at Burning Man. Unfortunately, this year Burning Man was canceled, but I hope to be there again next year. I'm Dutch originally, but I basically live and move around between Amsterdam, Kiev, and New York. New York, where my girlfriend lives, Kiev, where Matcher is, and Amsterdam, where friends and family still live. And as you might have noticed, I love Giphies. If you have any other questions, please reach out to me after it. I'm more than happy to answer any kind of questions that you have. So, what are we going to be talking about today? Today, we're going to be talking about these 4 topics. The advantages and disadvantages of automation, different kind of tools that you can use in order to make your life easy, how to search and reach out at scale, and of course, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. So, let's first start with the basics, the advantages and disadvantages of automation. In the chat, what are, according to you, the most important advantages of automation? Reading from England. I'm trying to keep this as interactive as possible. Got time saving, time and money, speed and efficiency, less time spent, speed, saves time. I mean, guys, I'm happy that we have a very knowledgeable audience, because this is indeed what is one of the most important things. Speed. Some things are just done much faster if you let a computer do it, and the good thing is they never get tired. Secondly, because of the speed, it also saves you a lot of time, which is very useful, especially in our very busy daily lives, and especially on how much effort is put on sources and recruiters these days. And last but not least, you can actually go to sleep and you will still be able to send out connection requests or transfer certain data to certain CRM files. Anything can be done, and it helps you to skip repetitive tasks, which the majority of people that I know don't really like to do. But despite all these beautiful advantages, there's also some disadvantages in using automation. Guys, again in the chat, any disadvantage of automation, or maybe something that you would like to share when automation went horribly wrong? Not relevant results, yes. Errors, mistakes, I know. Difficult to set up, yeah, for sure. It's not always as easy to connect all the different dots. Human touch, very important, Alexander. Sounds like a robot. Losing human touch, capital expenditure. Yeah, it's definitely not a human. Technical errors. Any cases that people would want to share, that they want to be open and honest about? Bugs, for sure. Personal touch. Yeah, one of the great disadvantages of automation is, hey, you let a robot do, for example, outreaches for you. And people, especially when they start asking questions, they will quite quickly figure out if there's a human or a robot on the other side. Have you ever tried to call customer service and they try to run you through this menu and you get so frustrated because all you want to do is have a human on the other side of the phone? Well, that's clearly a disadvantage of automation. Secondly, as someone mentioned, you lose control because in the background, when you have this beautiful setup, maybe something goes wrong, and without you realizing it, you got a whole workflow that either doesn't work, or you might actually end up sending people the wrong message, or you actually do something with, because you do it at such big skill that a lot of people get pissed off at you in that sense. And I'll show you a little bit of an example on how something went wrong when I was sending invites for this sourcing webinar. And it is really difficult to be creative when you actually do automation, because it's a set procedure that you do on a repetitive basis. So let me show you an example on actually something that went wrong in automation when I was sending people on my LinkedIn using a tool called DuckSoup invites for the sourcing webinar. If you've received a similar message like this, I'm sorry, there was actually DuckSoup doing this for me, but it all came from a good heart. If you received several invites, then you will have felt a little bit like Charlotte, because Charlotte, in this case, didn't receive one, but she sent one. Here's the second invite, and here's the third invite. And luckily, I know Charlotte pretty well, and she asked me, Adriaan, everything okay down there? Only then to realize that I actually did this to hundreds of people because I had a wrong setup in my settings, and I accidentally sent out multiple messages to the same people in a very short time frame. Great example of a disadvantage of automation. I'm truly sorry, guys. If you guys have received this, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. So, quantity versus quality. It's the ever-going battle in sourcing and recruitment, and especially when you use automation. Because on the one hand, it's great to shoot with hail. On the other hand, quite quickly you end up with bad candidates, or you actually do something worse. Where on the other hand, if you just focus purely on those sniper shots, you might end up with not enough candidates because you've been so targetedly and so personalized in your outreaches that you just don't have the necessary volume that you need. So today, I'm going to show you some of the tools that can help you in the different processes, but especially I'm going to show you on how you can combine those different tools where you can still have the quantity and still focus on quality. So, what kind of tools can you use in your automation process? Now, some of these tools you might have already heard, but since the audience is quite wide in terms of experience, I did want to mention them. So, tools for automated LinkedIn messaging. DocSoup is the one that we prefer to use because it allows you to send connection proposals to a predefined set of contact details over LinkedIn. So you can send connection requests with a short message, and it automatically connects to people that you would like to connect with. And it allows you, as I just showed you, to send messages to your first-degree connections as well. In the turbo version, it even allows you to send follow-up messages to people after a certain specified day. And it's a great way to automate your LinkedIn connection request. But as you just saw in the example, it is still about doing the work for you. Then there's Phantom Buster. I already saw someone mentioning Phantom Buster as one of the automation tools. I'll tell you a lot more about Phantom Buster in this webinar. Phantom Buster allows you to send a LinkedIn connection request as well. And in the beta version, they're actually looking for an integration. And when someone replies, you can actually keep track on their reply ratio in a Google spreadsheet, and all of this done automatically. So you can actually see the effectiveness of your outreach strategy. DocSoup. And then thirdly, there is MyRobotWorks. MyRobotWorks is very similar to DocSoup, but the beauty of MyRobotWorks is that it actually allows you to see which people have already been reached out to your colleagues. So to avoid sending out the same kind of message for the same kind of role that your colleague already reached out this candidate for. Then, tools for scraping. I won't go into the details of scraping because Jerry will show great results with his scraping webinar, I think in the 4th series of this 12 series. But I do want to mention some of the scraping tools out there. One is Instant Data Scraper. And the beauty of Instant Data Scraper is you basically don't have to do anything except you download the free Google Chrome extension. And once you want to scrape a website, you click on it, and it will indicate whether it can scrape that website, yes or no, and it will do all the work for you. However, not every site is scrapable for Instant Data Scraper, and then you would need a little bit more of a sophisticated tool like Data Miner. Data Miner allows you to scrape multiple websites, and you can actually indicate on a website what parts of the website you would like to be scraped. It took me a couple of hours of watching back and forth tutorials to fully understand how the tool works. But again, with many of these things, once you've actually tried it and tested it a couple of times, it actually is quite intuitive. And again, there's Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster allows you to scrape your LinkedIn results. Phantom Buster allows you to scrape Instagram followers, people that follow articles on Medium. There are many, many integrations possible with Phantom Buster. Instant Data Scraper and Data Miner are for free. Phantom Buster is free for the first 14 days. And after that, you need to go to a paid version, or you just have limited time per day that you can actually use the tool. But write this down, guys. If you get multiple email addresses at Phantom Buster, you can basically stay on the free version forever. Don't tell them I ever said that. And of course, we would never do that. So, email. Is anyone using any kind of email follow-up? And which ones are you guys using? Anyone in the chat? And Tello, yes, I haven't tried it yet, but I heard pretty good stories about it. Trinsley, yes, David. We'll definitely come. Reply.io. I heard pretty good stories about that as well. Manual, I haven't heard of Manual yet. Well, as you can email follow-up, old school, yeah. So as you can see, Calendly is a little bit different. As you can see, there are many different tools out there, but I'll discuss the 3 that we've actually used and experimented with. The one that we use at Matcher is a tool called Trinsley. And Trinsley, the beauty of Trinsley is it's actually developed by a developer that was an IT recruiter for a year and then realized that, he was doing a lot of repetitive stuff, and he thought, hey, I can actually develop a tool that will make my life much easier. And hence, he decided to develop Trinsley. Trinsley is actually integrated with LinkedIn, is that when you visit someone's LinkedIn profile, there's a button of Trinsley in the bottom of your screen. And once you click on it, it unfolds a little pop-up window, and it allows you from the LinkedIn page to send automatic email templates that you've created before, and actually schedule them with different follow-ups over time. So you don't have to go to your inbox. You can do it directly from someone's LinkedIn page. And what's cool, you can keep track of the open rates and reply rates in that sense. Then there's Mixmax. Mixmax is also an email follow-up tool, but it works only with Gmail. The good thing about Mixmax is it allows also the opportunity to send emails from different email accounts. So you can, for example, send emails from a hiring manager or your CTO or CEO in that sense in order to create better conversions. And then there's Lemlist. I will definitely show you a little bit more about Lemlist, because the beauty of Lemlist is it allows for great personalization in their email templates. And it's, in my opinion, the best tool out there for very personalized messages. And I use Lemlist to send out personalized messages at scale. And I'll show you in a little bit how that works. And then to find the right contact details, SalesQL integrates with Sales Navigator and allows you to find email addresses and phone numbers, contact info, and Swordfish. Swordfish is the most expensive one, but also one of the most trusted email finder tools, and especially great for finding personal email addresses from people that you want to reach out to. Now, last but not least, in terms of automation, the mother of all tools, Zapier. Zapier actually allows you to connect different software systems, software tools that you're using. So, for example, when you registered yourself for this Crowdcast, all your email addresses came into a Crowdcast beta database. Then by using Zapier, Zapier actually allows you to then make a connection to a different software tool that you use and transfer that data. So in this case, to HubSpot, where we keep all the data in order to be able to send you automatic emails. But the options are almost endless with Zapier. They have over 2,000 Zapiers made to connect different systems in that sense. If you haven't used it yet, definitely try check it out, because it will make your life much easier. And then there's Phantom Buster. And Phantom Buster, I will address specifically what the opportunities are with Phantom Buster. Because Phantom Buster allows you to connect people in your LinkedIn network and send automatic invites. It allows you to scrape all publicly available data from someone's LinkedIn profile. And I'll show you in a real life case why that is useful. You can auto withdraw. So if you send too many LinkedIn requests and you get a notice from LinkedIn of like, hey, we see unusual activity on your account, you can actually auto withdraw many of the LinkedIn connections requests that you have that are still pending. You can scrape data from your LinkedIn search export and get all the data that you've been looking for manually in an Excel sheet. You can find email addresses with Phantom Buster, and you can scrape LinkedIn group members, which can also be very useful. But this is not the only thing that's powerful about Phantom Buster, because it also integrates with Facebook, Instagram, Medium, Google Maps, and they are very, very targeted on recruiters and sourcers to make their life easy. So, guys, so far, anything new in the poll? Tell me. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, pretty useful. Couple were new. Yeah. Yeah, pretty useful. It keeps going up on my chat box. All right. Tell me something new. I understand. So, what's next? When are we going to see some real action of actually stuff that really matters? I'm going to show you how we actually combine these different tools, and that's where the pure automation and the real-time saving comes in. And this is going to be the end result. So this is an email. We actually are actively looking for a senior sourcer for Matcher, and this is an email template that, in this case, I sent to my colleague just to show you as an example. But this is a very similar template that I use to send out personalized emails at scale. Because in this case, it's someone's LinkedIn profile that I've been able to scrape by using Phantom Buster from this candidate's own LinkedIn profile, and I send that into an email that is standardized. So this is what the process looks like. You do a search in LinkedIn, then you scrape that data using SalesQL, and SalesQL automatically populates that data with email addresses. Then you use Phantom Buster to upload those LinkedIn details of the candidates that you want to reach out to into Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster then scrapes all publicly available data from LinkedIn. Then you upload that data into a Google spreadsheet to filter out all the false positives and to make sure that everything is set for your messaging. And then once you have that data set complete, you automatically connect with them on LinkedIn via DuckSoup. And you send a hyper-personalized email with someone's LinkedIn print screen like this to them at scale. So, guys, you ready to show how this works? Because I need to move a little bit quick in terms of time to show you how this works. But I think this could be very interesting for you guys if you pay attention. All right. All right, let's do this. I love it. Let's go for this. So let's first start with LinkedIn. In this case, we personally use LinkedIn Sales Navigator because it's the cheapest version of LinkedIn. It integrates very well with various tools, and it has almost the same functionalities as LinkedIn Recruiter Lite. And the beauty is, but in general, if you don't have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can still do this as long as you find the right LinkedIn links, URLs of the people that you want to reach out to. In this particular case, I use Matcher, my company, as an example, to make sure that I don't get into trouble with GDPR. I've done a Boolean search on Matcher, and then I click on the SalesQL extension, because SalesQL allows you to scrape all results from your Sales Navigator search up to page 100 in a matter of minutes. And then the results that come by, that they produce, come into an Excel file, and that looks something like this, and it adds the email addresses as well, both business and personal email addresses, if they can find them. So now you have a data set of the people that you want to reach out to, and it's very important that you do a very proper Boolean search in order to avoid as many false positives as possible. So really spend time of making sure that you are actually finding the right candidates by doing several checks at several pages if these are the right people. Because before we do anything with this database, I'm looking in particular for a senior sourcer. So I only want to target people that work in sourcing. So I do a first check and filter out the false positives in this data set that I just scraped from LinkedIn. And trust me, you will filter out quite a lot of people. Once I've done this, and I'm pretty confident, like, hey, these look like the people that I want to reach out to, I then create a Google Sheet where I upload these LinkedIn URLs. And the reason for doing that is because I need Phantom Buster to access this Google Sheet in order to scrape all publicly available data from their LinkedIn profiles. The only thing what you don't need to forget is to make sure that the file, that the Google Sheet, is on editor mode, so people can actually edit the file. In this case, Phantom Buster. So, done your search, got the email addresses, filtered out the false positives, created a Google Drive sheet. Now we go to Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster has many options, but in this case, we want to use this Phantom called LinkedIn Profile Scraper. And what we do is we actually, if you don't have ever used Phantom Buster yet, you need to download the Chrome extension of Phantom Buster that gives Phantom Buster the right to access your LinkedIn account on their behalf. There's nothing scary about that, but they just pretend to be you so it doesn't alarm LinkedIn. And you do that by clicking on Connect to LinkedIn, and then you'll see this weird kind of numbers in there, and then you know that Phantom Buster has access to your LinkedIn account. Then you copy paste the Google Sheet that you just created in this bar. Remember to set it on share. And then you click on Advanced Settings at the bottom, because you want to indicate how many profiles you want to scrape at once. If you're on the free version, as I am, you can scrape up to around 30 profiles before you run out of time. So usually I set it around 20, and then I see how much time I have left. And what is important, you indicate that you want to take a partial screenshot of the profile. Because what Phantom Buster does, it actually takes a print screen of someone's LinkedIn profile that he can then use in Lemlist as a great way of personalization. And I'll show you in a little bit what that looks like. Once you've put these settings on, you click on Save. You put it either on manually or repeatedly. So in this case, I have a small data set because I only have 20 profiles that I want to scrape. But usually if you do a larger search, you will have maybe 100 or 200 profiles that you want to scrape. And it takes time. So then you set it on repeat to make sure that you don't alarm LinkedIn, and that you, for example, scrape 20 profiles every 15 minutes. And then you don't alert LinkedIn. And because Phantom Buster works in the cloud, it automatically runs for you even when you're asleep. Click on Save. I always put notifications on none. And then you actually click on Launch. And this is what the result looks like. Another Google spreadsheet. But in contrary to what SalesQL performs, this is all publicly available data from someone's LinkedIn profile, including their headshot of their LinkedIn profile and including a partial screenshot of their actual LinkedIn profile. And now, before we start uploading this data into DuckSoup or into Lemlist, what we need to do is actually filter out false positives. And you can do that on job title, years of experience, years in role, company, current or previous one, or location, or anything else that you find relevant for you to filter out. So what does this look like? So let me show you what the actual spreadsheet looks like and what we then do with it. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like. All publicly available data from someone's LinkedIn profile, current company, company URL, current job title, the job location, when someone started working somewhere, school, date range of school, skills, endorsements, even someone's Twitter account if they have it on their LinkedIn, their birthday if you want to send flowers, all publicly available data. And this allows you to filter out, again, false positives in that sense. Now, you can do two things. You can either filter out the false positives directly in this sheet, or, and that's something that we do, you can actually use this template that we've created to work with our clients based on the inspiration that we received from Mike Cohen, aka Batman. He showed me this way of working, and we have adapted to this way of working. Because what you do is basically in these blue columns, you copy paste the data that is relevant for you to filter out to or to know from a candidate, because many of the things are irrelevant as well, and copy paste this in this sheet. Now, this is a small example sheet, but imagine doing this with 200 candidates in this sheet, and then you'll see how fast this can go. So this is current title, year in role, etc. Now, what I want to do is I want to filter out false positives, because despite that I've selected already on job title, I know there's still false positives in here. So I'm going to place a filter on this sheet. And first, I want someone with 3 years or more work experience. So what I do is I actually look at year graduated, because that's an indication of how long someone has already been working. So I don't want to reach out to people that graduated in 2019 because they recently graduated and they're too inexperienced for this role. And indeed, Junior Talent Sourcer, I am going to give them a tag that says I don't want to reach out to them. And I'll show you in a little bit why this is relevant, because we want to filter out people that we don't want to reach out to. Then I'm going to clear this filter again. And now I have the people that have the right years of experience, but I also don't want to reach out to people that just moved into their new role. So I will filter out people that just got their new role. So June 2020, and the rest is okay. So 2 people recently joined Matcher. So sorry guys, but I don't want to reach out to you. Again, clear the filter. And now last one, I'm going to filter on job title just to make sure that I have the right people. Hey, and consigliere commerciale, that's not a sourcer. And a talent acquisition lead is also not a sourcer. So these are the people that I don't want to reach out to. And now what I do, I'll clear this filter. And now I have the people left, these 3 people. I want to reach out to them. And that's Anna, Olena, and Dimitro. And in purple, what I'll do, I will share the templates in the follow-up, guys, so you can play around with this. What I want to do, I want to reach out to their first name, how people would actually address them. Now, I know that Dimitro is actually Dima. So this is what I do. And sometimes you see people using emoticons in their names. So that's something that you want to avoid. Here are their LinkedIn URLs, profile URLs. Oh, here. And do you remember this one? Let me show you this one, what this looks like. So this is Anna's partial print screen. You see? And that allows us to work with this. This is their email addresses that I had from the SalesQL search. Their company, so I've already pre-filled this, of course, for us to work with. But now I actually have the right messaging that I can use for both DuckSoup and for Lemlist. If you feel, wow, these are quite a lot of steps, again, think about how many people you can eliminate by using this kind of search, because so far I didn't check a single profile yet. If you do this with 200 or 300 people in your search on a consistent basis, you'll get very, very quick in terms of finding the right people and do that at scale. So now, before we start emailing and contacting these people, make sure that you check their email addresses on deliverability. This is a mistake that I didn't do in the past, and we paid dearly for it because we ended up in a lot of people's spam filter, or we got a lot of hard bounces. We use a tool called Bouncer. It's free for the first 2,000 credits, and then you pay a small amount after. Only reach out to the email addresses that are deliverable. Don't go for risky or undeliverable or undone. So, done our search, enrich with email addresses, enrich their profiles with Phantom Buster to filter out false positives and to get their partial screenshots. Then we've actually made this data into a Google spreadsheet, so we can actually have one file where we can keep track of all the people. Now it's time for the fun part, because now we'll use DuckSoup to reach out to them. And this is an example of a message that you can use in DuckSoup. So, hi, this is the first name. Looks like this, hi Ivana. But it allows you to upload bigger parts of data by clicking in the bottom of DuckSoup, search revisit data again. You upload your CSV file. In this case, I made it a little bit bigger than the example. Otherwise, it would look kind of silly with just three profiles in here. But you can do this with hundreds at the same time. Upload them into DuckSoup. DuckSoup then recognizes their LinkedIn profile and their first name, and then click on send, and then it automatically starts sending out connection proposals to all these people in your LinkedIn sheet. And you can even use things like, hey, I saw that you worked at this company, that you can use, or hey, I saw that you're from this city, for example, in your messaging, and that's how you can actually use it. So connection proposals is one. You send out to all the people that are relevant without having checked a single profile and having go through this page by page by page. No, you've actually been able to slice and dice your data set very quickly. Now it's time where the magic happens, by using Lemlist. So Lemlist is an email follow-up tool, and they really focus on sending personalized messages. So this is the upload that I'm going to do to Lemlist. And as you can see, I mentioned name, company, city, and icebreaker is kind of my reference in Lemlist, where I want the print screen of someone's LinkedIn profile, the email addresses, and sourcer. Do you remember in the Google Sheet that I showed you the purple columns? This is what the purple columns do. So I make sure that the company name is not Matcher LLC, for example, or Accenture Consultancy Services. No, nobody says I work at Accenture Consultancy Services. Everyone works at Accenture. So this is why those columns are important, and the same with names, for example. Then I create an outreach template in Lemlist. And this is what the cold outreach templates look like, but it offers great opportunities to personalize. So this is where someone's print screen comes. And by automatically uploading this, every single person will get his own print screen, of course. And I've used in this particular case a reference to their title, their company name, and the city that they're from. Because I noticed that a lot of people that I'm reaching out to actually live in Kiev, and I have several colleagues also living in Kiev. This is kind of stuff where you can personalize in your own way of saying, hey, I noticed you went to this and this school. One of our colleagues also went to this school. Or I see that you're in this and this group. One of our colleagues also likes this group. Or you refer to something that's personal about yourself. The important thing is this only works if you see that if in your bigger database that there are some commonalities that the majority of your data set has. Otherwise, again, you'll end up sending personalized email sentences on a consistent basis to the people that you reach out to. Of course, when you have a much more targeted search, or like when it's kind of like a special search, this not always works. But again, I want to show you how you can still have quantity and still have quality by sending these messages and people really feeling and sensing that this message belongs to them. So this is then what it looks like. Hey, senior sourcer at Matcher, Kiev, and this is what Anna would receive when I would send her the email. And this is, again, what Dima has after I uploaded his profile, and again, also his print screen. Make sure you create several follow-ups. Do that after a couple of days. And what we learned from the session with Mike Cohen, who will also do a separate session on emails and will really go into the depths of this, is that you can even send up to 5 follow-ups as long as you in each message tell something new and use humor. For example, this is our second follow-up, and below 3 reasons why it would be worth to have a short chat. Work from anywhere, anytime. Work with and learn from the best sources in the world. Have a direct impact in a fast-growing organization. And sourcing questions, whose yearbook picture is this? Does anyone know in the chat who this is? I love a good sourcing challenge. Guys, who is this? I'll tell you in a little bit. So, and then you hit send and you just sit back and relax and see all the people coming in. And then, of course, you do on repeat. No, not Michael Jordan, not Obama, not Mike Tyson. Yes, Alexander Lopez, you're the winner of today. It was Snoop Dogg. Can you believe it, guys? That's Snoop Dogg. One more time. This is Snoop Dogg. Yep. So then you hit send. And then you keep track in your dashboard, because, let me show you. And this is how we work for many of our clients. We actually keep track on output of our source. So Anna was super interested to hear a little bit more about what you had to say. And Olena also was interested, but Dima, he was definitely not interested. And then you can see in the dashboard of actually the effectiveness of your work. 3 responsive, 2 were interested, 1 was not interested. You researched through 9 profiles, 3 were relevant, and you reached out to 3 of them. This is also very powerful in your conversation with your hiring manager. It's like, where are my hires? And you can actually go to your dashboard. Well, look, I've gone through 600 profiles. Only 100 were relevant. Out of the 100 that were relevant, I was able to find 70 emails. Out of the 70 emails that came back, only 10 were interested, and they are still in your inbox because you're not responding. So then they get a little bit of a sense of all the work that you do, and you actually sell the whole iceberg. Again, credits to Mike Cohen for showing this way of working, and it's very powerful in order to work both internally and as we do externally for our clients. So, guys, what do you think? Quite a lot of information. The recording is there. The different tools are also there. Of course, we're constantly trying to automate more stuff of it. But definitely the good thing is these are all existing tools, and we use them by just combining them and trying to automate stuff in our own life. And how we found out about this stuff is really by just looking in all this free knowledge that's out there, similar to these kind of sourcing webinars. And Mike Cohen really helped us in that sense. But I would highly recommend you to follow the Facebook group of Badass Recruiters and Sourcers, the Sales Automation family from Lendlist, sourcing workshops for Matcher, the newsletter, Sourcing Insight that we're sending out on a bi-weekly basis. Lemlist has a great newsletter. Of course, Recruiting Brain Food. It's a little bit more generic, but there are definitely some nice sourcing hacks and recruiting hacks in there. And also Phantom Buster has a good newsletter, which is very focused often on this stuff.
Adriaan, I'm here back. Before you start your workshop, let's answer questions actually.
I'm almost done there, Anastasia.
I have a couple of favorite ones about Phantom Buster. You have final quote. Okay, I'm disappearing.
No worries. So, guys, it's all about investing the time and trying to figure out these tools. And I love this quote from Warren Buffett. Someone is sitting in the shade today because he planted a tree a long time ago. And that's kind of what it is. In the beginning, it will take you more time to get acquainted with these kind of different tools. But at a certain point, it will start saving you so much time if you just put the time and effort in now. And therefore, I think this quote is a good way to close off. Let's answer questions. And simultaneously, you have the opportunity to connect with me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, send me an email on adriaan@matcher.io or follow me on Medium, where I often regularly write about sourcing and recruitment. And I'll also write a step-by-step tutorial on the presentation that I gave today. So, guys, any questions? Anastasia, any questions that you come back on stage, Anastasia?
I'm here. I'm going to turn on my camera back.
Yeah. Should I stop sharing?
If you look down to ask a question, just beyond the button, ask a question. There are 7 questions. I think 2 of them we can skip.
Yeah.
But does Sales SQL only work within LinkedIn Sales Navigator?
It's a good question. It also works with the free version of LinkedIn, and they are now working, and it's going to launch soon. They said end of August, but I haven't seen it released yet on Recruiter Seat as well.
Okay.
But LinkedIn is constantly changing. Recruiter Seat is not the easiest one, but there are other tools that you can use, like Phantom Buster, to scrape this kind of data. And I know also that I think HireTool and Seekout also offer these opportunities.
How to sell accompany to a candidate when you have no idea of their salary range? Ask for a salary range.
Well, that's a first. It's going to be very hard for if you don't know the salary range, because that's one of the things that
It's super important. Yeah.
Yeah, so definitely push the hiring manager, and if they don't want to give it, like why, like how they're going to make an offer in the end. So that's going to be difficult. Or when the candidates ask, like, hey, that's something that will come up in the conversation with the hiring manager. My job is just to find the best possible talent out there, and you're clearly one of them, and they will make it work in terms of salary.
Yep, and actually, if you don't post your salary range, you're not that transparent. And it actually may affect candidates, because while probably you will treat other candidates in different way than you can treat you. So it's not like an fair play. It's not an open game. So yeah, upon my experience, opening salary range is really important.
Any other questions, Anastasia? Or shall we go to, I think the final slides in the final poll, right?
No, wait. No. There are a lot of questions. Probably we will make a kind of PDF or something like that with the answers to these questions, because here's a question like how to apply for a talent sourcer at a company. Somebody's looking for a job in Mature. I think
awesome. Awesome. That's amazing. Send an email to me, Adriaan@Mature.io.
Yeah. It was an interesting question. I'm just missing it. It was something like I think it was a question from Amazing Hiring, actually, because it was a question like how to sell automation software to a company. And I can rephrase it in the form of what can be a reason for you as a staffing agency or sourcing agency to buy a recruitment software. How do you assess it?
Is that a question to me, Anastasia?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so with those, I often hear that, the frustration of sourcer recruiters, like, yeah, we don't have any budget to like work with Recruiter Seed, or we don't have any budget to work with XYZ. But that's kind of like one of the things. What is important is for the person that's then responsible for the budget to realize it's not actually a cost, but it's actually a benefit for the organization to work with certain tools, because it will save you time, and time will help you in order to hire quicker, which will make him or her realize their
customers actually.
Exactly. So it's and of course, there's a limit to how much you can spend. It's not endless, but there are certain tools that are just, those are the basic tools that you need to use. I speak sometimes to recruiters, and they're not allowed to have a paid version of LinkedIn. Then you can't even do a Boolean search or whatsoever. And yes, there are ways to go around LinkedIn whatsoever. But if your company is not willing to pay 62 euros per month in order for you to make your job efficient so you can hire quicker, then you need to have a different discussion. And then you also need to be honest, there's an organization that takes me seriously in the job that I'm trying to do with the best of opportunity.
Yeah. I think you're right. You don't have to think about cost of the software, but you have to think about benefits of the software.
Exactly. And it's both of a question, of course.
Yeah.
How to switch from recruiter to sourcer? Well, in that sense, that's a good question. If you really want to be a sourcer, so the mission of a sourcer is to turn people into candidates, where recruiters are very good at turning candidates into hires. So
different.
So that's a big difference. So if you feel that that's where you're better at the first part, you're really doing the research, really like to play around with data, really getting nitty gritty in certain sourcing hacks, etc., trying different tools, and then just focus on that part of the recruitment process. If you really get a lot of energy in constantly interacting with candidates and clients, or candidates and internal stakeholders, then the recruiting sphere is much more for you. Yeah, Shafiq, great comments. Anastasia, I'm a little conscious about time. We still have, of course,
1 minute. 1 minute left.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Guys, I think I will collect all the questions that you have had in the chat, because there is a lot, and we didn't have time to answer all the questions in Q&A section, and we will publish it in a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Join it. You have a button. Most important thing that I want to say in the end is that if you guys, well, we all work in different companies, but if in case you need kind of dedicated sourcing course, just mail me or Adriaan, and we definitely will help. What we can do for you. I will not waste time on switching on slides. If you guys need kind of super targeted sourcing training for your team, me, Adriaan, our team can do it. And just don't hesitate contacting us, and don't switch off. Next week we will have our next webinar, next workshop. Definitely we will have the reminding, and I hope this mess with the time will not appear never again. And I think we have to thank each other. Thanks for participating in the chat. It was really interesting. And thanks for amazing questions. We definitely will answer every question in our Facebook group. Join it. Thank you, Adriaan.
Thank you.
I will share recording and slides with you after this session.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for attending.
Same link, everything. Yeah. Adriaan, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah, goodbye. I thought we were closing. Awesome.
Yeah. Goodbye, guys. See you next week. Don't miss it.